Part 21. And to celebrate part 21, I have decided to put a new graphic on the PowerPoint presentation. Isn't it lovely? Right, we have kind of returned to an earlier slide here that I created some time ago when I thought it would be a good idea to start organising and planning the database a little bit. And so we had some very sort of high level bullet points on what the functionality was. Now that we've finished the mix form, EA, we can move on to do something else. And to be honest with you, I don't really know what that something else is at the minute. I've kind of lost track, spending so long on one form, what the rest of the database needs to do. What visual UI and UX and stuff that we need. So I've thought that probably the best way of doing this is to sort of go ahead and more or less complete the control panel, in as much as putting all the controls on there. Not the functionality maybe that underlies them, but getting all the controls on there that I'm going to need to basically say version 1 of this database tool eLiquid log thing is done. So what I'm going to do then is go ahead and basically finish the control panel. But before I need to do that, I need to have an idea about what the entire functionality is, and it needs to be in more detail than we've got here. So what I am doing is breaking that down into each individual bullet point, starting off with the storing and maintaining of stock levels. We can say that that is kind of two areas. We've got the ingredients level, because if you have been following along, our ingredients are stored in the database at two levels. On a main ingredient level, which stores all of the information that is relevant to the ingredient no matter which bottle it is, and then on a stock level or a bottle level where it stores the data that is relevant to the bottle, i.e. how much we've got at it, when we bought it, how much is left, the price, and stuff like that. Looking at the ingredients level, all we have done so far, apart from creating the tables, is we have created a form to create a new ingredient. So we've done that. There's the tick mark. But let's say we created an ingredient and actually we want to go in and change it for some reason. Probably not going to happen that often unless we've just made a mistake. And rather than using the table, which in the finished product aren't going to be accessible really, we need some way to edit it, and at the same time we also need some way to delete it. Actually, we probably don't, but yeah, it's going to be easy, so I'll include that. So looking at the control panel as it is, it's pretty rubbish. We've got a few buttons randomly lying about. We've got this drop down. So I'm going to just go ahead now and add in the sort of UI we need here to perform these functions. Like I said, we've got to create a new ingredient, so it's basically edit ingredient and delete ingredient. And yeah, when I've done that, I'll be back. Righto then, I've done it, and I've even started formatting it to make it look sort of pretty. So I've created a little green section at the top here where all of the things that we could do with the ingredients are stored. We've got our new ingredient button, which we've already done, which is why it's got this humongously ugly border around it. Just a visual clue that we are leaving that one alone for now. I've then got a drop down that lists all of the ingredients so that we could select one and then click edit if we wanted to edit it, or delete if we wanted to delete it. Now, as you can see, those don't do anything yet, but yeah, that's the purpose of doing this, so that we'll do all of this for all of the different functionality we want on the control panel, and then we can see what we need to do, and we can come back and actually make the code for this button, and anything else. So let's have a little look at what we're going to add to the control panel. So we've done that really. Create new ingredient, edit ingredient, delete ingredient. We haven't actually done it, but at least the controls are there. So next up is maintaining and storing the stock levels, i.e. the bottles that we've got of these ingredients. So we haven't done add stock yet. We can't actually add any stock. We did all of that by importing it from Excel at the beginning. There's no way for us to nice and easily add stock without going into the table. We can't edit the stock, and you'll see I've got a little note here that says reality updates, because what might happen, and that does happen in fact, is that you know, when you buy a 10ml bottle of a flavour, for example, you might end up with 11ml. So the normal mathematics would tell you that that bottle's empty when you can clearly see that it's not. So we need somewhere to update reality, i.e. add a little mil back into the amount of stock we've got. We may want to delete a stock, i.e. remove a bottle we've added. I don't really know why, but again, it's pretty simple, so we'll do it. And the last thing is the automated stock reduction, which is a fancy name for what we've already done, which is the consume button on the mix form, so where it automatically adjusts stock according to mixes we've made. Now we've finally done that big bit, so we'll go into the control panel and add some controls for the remainder of these. Yeah, so what I've decided to do is, because effectively even the stock table is talking about ingredients from a sort of a usability point of view, they're all just ingredients. We've had to separate them up into different tables, but really they're all ingredients. So I'm going to put all of the ingredient related information, and that includes stock levels, into this green area at the top. So what I've decided to do is I've left this more or less the same, but I've added an extra button in here because this is probably going to be the most often used option, certainly for the ingredients, is adding new stock when we buy new bottles. Now that really is related to the stock table, but it makes more sense that we select an ingredient and say, yeah, we've bought some more berry crunch, then click restock and add the new bottles. So we're going to have to do a form for that. I've then added underneath another drop down here that actually lists all of the actual bottles, i.e. the stock table, and a button so that we can just view all of those, which is essentially just going to spit out a multi-item form, which just, if we need to go in and edit anything for any bizarre reason, we can do that without opening the table. I've added this button here to adjust stock. As previously described, let's just say the bottle came with 11ml in instead of 10ml, and with all the maths going on, it says the bottle is empty after we use 10ml, but we notice there's still a mil left. Well, we can click this button for the particular ingredient and just add 1 mil back into it. I doubt we're ever going to really delete stock bottles unless, well, I don't know, unless we've sort of created one by accident. We could delete it, but anyway, we might as well put it there. So yeah, that'll do for a minute. The next thing we're going to have to deal with is the recipes, obviously, and the mixes. We'll get all the functionality, all of the controls we need for that functionality done on the control panel tomorrow. Watching paint dry would be more interesting.